Hello everybody and welcome back to another Python programming tutorial. This one we are going to be diving into Selenium with Python. If you don't know what Selenium is, it is basically a web driver that automates processes online. So for people that are working in the office, or if you are doing repetitive tasks each day for work or for any type of reason, you could really call on Selenium to automate these tasks for you and save you a bunch of time down the road. So I'm going to show you the process of getting Selenium to work in a real project of advertising and trying to get listings online for a real estate project. That's actually how I got into Selenium. I have been programming with Python for about 2 years, and I've never really dove into automated tasks or anything. But once I actually did get into it, it is a very low learning curve, and I am kicking myself in the butt for not jumping on the Selenium bandwagon beforehand, because there are a lot of ways that I wouldn't even thought of that I could have used Selenium to help automate my life and to make me more productive. So like I said, I had a client come to me and they had a bunch of property that needed to be listed on Craigslist. They wanted it listed on every single large city's Craigslist page, and in order to achieve this, there was a lot of things that I had to do to be able to get this to where I needed it to be. I had to create a bunch of email accounts. I had to basically create a process of uploading these posts on Craigslist. I had to do a lot of other stuff to basically get this thing to work appropriately. So this is what I ended up building, and this is what we're going to be building in this tutorial video is part of the project, and this is going to be automating the posting process of this project. So if I go into my PyCharm, this is the application right here. I'm going to press run, and we're going to see what we actually get here as this application is actually running. I'm going to pull this up a little bit. And as you can see, it is going through the process. I wanted to so you guys can see what's going on underneath. But we are posting all of the information. It is filling everything out. I'm not typing anything at all. Clearly, I can't type that fast. It is uploading a lot of information without me having to do anything. So like pictures, we're uploading that. A lot of people that work with Selenium, they haven't been able to address this issue. This took a lot of tweaking on my part and really deep research to be able to get to a place where I am able to upload pictures directly to specific web pages. So that's what we're doing here, where we are uploading these images individually, and we're running through the list of all the images that I'm trying to post that is in relation to this listing. This is not the listing that I had. That would be really cool, but this is just a beautiful house that I found that I'm just using for this tutorial. So with that, once the process is done, it is going to say that it is finished and it is posted. And basically you have to check your email and confirm the listing, and you are all done. So as you can see, you can definitely see how this could be useful for somebody looking to advertise a house, right? You just go through the list of every single property, you work your way down, bada bing, bada boom, you're done. So that's the way I went about it. And with that, let's jump into the program and let's see what is actually required to build this out. And let's talk about actually building it out. So with that, let's jump into it. All right, everybody. So to start off, we got to make our way back to our Selenium Python read the docs section. They have some good examples here, and the documentation is really good. But really what we need to actually get started on this is we need to download a driver. And this is going to work for what we need. And this is basically a specific way to open up Chrome, Edge, or Firefox, or Safari. So for me, most programmers, we really do love Chrome just because the dev tools are so good with it. So that's what I'm going to go for. And I'd highly suggest if you have Chrome, go with Chrome. And let's download that. And then it gives you directions for Windows and directions for Mac. It's really simple to do, but basically you want to figure out which Chrome version you are using, and then you want to download that accordingly. So the way you could do this is you can go into About Google Chrome up here, and as you can see your version. So I'm in version 79.03. So that's what I'm working with. So what we want to do, because of this is we want to make sure that we are matching. So working my way back to the Selenium page, I would of course download this one, and it would just easily download it real quick. So you can click on it, And as you can see, it's going to start downloading. You get to pick which one you want for Mac, Windows, or Linux, depending on whichever one you are operating on. And the way I go about it is I create this folder. I'm going to include this folder in the description down below. The only thing that this has is some pictures and a blank Python file. But if you guys want to start from this, you easily can, and you guys can just build off of it. That way you at least have some pictures ready for you. If not, it's easy to just start fresh because all you're doing is you're adding some pictures. But anyway, so once you download your WebDriver, I highly suggest pasting it in the project itself. That way you're just keeping track of it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to paste the Selenium download that we just downloaded into here. And this is the Chrome WebDriver. So now that this is in, we can actually get started. We're going to need a few things. So we're going to need to bring in Selenium. So from Selenium, import WebDriver. And as you can see, it's not in yet. So we have to basically import it. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go over to Selenium. It's going to be a pip install Selenium. Or you could just install package if you are working with PyCharm like I am. So it is installing, it is done. Now we could bring in our other imports. The other imports that we're going to need is we're going to need more from Selenium. So from Selenium dot WebDriver, we want to bring in common actions chains, and then we want to import action chains. And then we want to bring in keys. So this import is going to allow us to basically send keys to our web browser. So selenium.webdriver.common.keys, and then we want to import keys itself. The next thing is time, because we can use time to kind of record what is going on here. So I'm going to import time. Then I want to also bring in from Selenium .webdriver support UI. We want to import WebDriver wait. That allows our WebDriver to wait. So it's like a sleep function almost. And then we want to import os.path. And that allows us to basically reference our folder up here to kind of say, hey, go to this folder and check it out. So with that, we are all set up. So in order to get started with Selenium, you need to basically define your browser. So some people call it driver, some people call it browser. It really doesn't matter as long as you're just using the same variable when building it out. So I'm just going to do browser equals WebDriver dot Chrome, and then we want to basically point to where our WebDriver is actually located. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to copy the path, the direct path, and I'm going to paste that in. So that's how we find out where our direct path is, and we paste it in. So with that, we can go to our browser.git. So browser.git, and because we're going to be working on Craigslist here, we want to basically point to Craigslist. So https://post.craigslist.org. And then end that off, and with that, let's just see what happens here. So we'll run this, and you'll see that we can actually pull everything up and make sure that we actually get stuff working. So as you can see, we are running it, and it pulled up everything that we need. We get our browser, it pulls up underneath here, we can see that we get a new Google Chrome that is specific for these automated test software. We get an alert up here to let us know that we are working within one also, and we can actually get started. So in order to get started, we need to basically find elements within each page and tell this program to find that element and do something to it, right? So the first thing that we want to do is we are brought to this page which has a drop-down menu and a continue button. So the first thing we need to do is we need to basically tell it to select a location. So we are going to go over to which city that we want. We can go to inspect, right click and click inspect. Usually with WebDrivers we're going to have to do it 2 times. I'm going to make this big so I can actually see what's going on here. I can't increase the size of this on the right, so I'm sorry about that. I might be able to do some editing to make it bigger. But we can see that if we scroll up, what we are really trying to find is the select element text. And what you will find is as you hover over these different divs and sections of this page, you're going to see it highlight in blue. What we're really trying to find is this span right here with a class name of UI select menu text. And we can see that it already has a city up, but basically what we want to do is you could either just double click on this and we can copy it, but basically we want to tell our WebDriver to basically find an element with the class name of this class name and to click on it, right? So in order to do that, I'm going to pull this back up. I'm going to increase the size a little bit so you guys can actually see what's actually going on here. I'm going to move this over, just trying to give you guys a better view because I know it's kind of hard as you are coding along. But anyway, so what we want to do is we're going to call this select location. So select location, just so we can know which section we're on. We're going to reference our browser. So we'll do browser.findElement, and this one we're going to actually do by class name. And if we saw, going back over here, we can see that this has a class of UI element menu text. That's why we copied it. So that's what we're going to be putting in here. So we're going to put that in here, and at the end of this we want to do a dot click, right? So then we want to find the actual city that we want that has the Craigslist page. So with this browser find element by class name UI select text, we are basically just opening up this drop down menu right here. So that's all we're actually doing here. So now let's say we want to specifically click on one of these individual options, right? So as you can see, as we can hover over, there's different options over here. But basically what we are going to go for, I'm going to go for Austin, Texas right here. And in order to do this, there's a few ways that we can kind of go about it. So if you do Command F on your keyboard, at least on Mac, it might be a little bit different for Windows, but really what you're doing is you're trying to find the search option. And you can basically type in anything. So I can type in Austin, if that's the city I want to go to. We can see that there's two different options up here. One is connected to a select menu, and it has options. We don't really want that one. We're going to want the other one, which is down here, which is an LI. So with this, in order to actually select this, I'm going to go by the ID name. The reason I am going by this is because we can see that individually this ID name is different for each option, right? Where class, these are all the same. So if you told it to look for this class, menu item, UI menu item, this WebDriver would have no idea what you're actually talking about. So you need a unique identifier for each object that you're really trying to find. So for this case and scenario, we are going to go with the ID because that is our unique identifier. And we are going to choose Austin, Texas, our city, to upload all this information on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my PyCharm over here. And because we opened up the drop-down menu with this code right above us, now we want to basically select which city. So we're going to do browser again. We're going to do find element, but this time we're going to do by os.path because we can't do class name because they all have the same class name. And this is where we are going to basically point to what type of element. So basically this is going to be an LI element. So you do //li or / button depending on what you're actually trying to select here. Then you are going to do this parentheses, and then you want to do an @ symbol, and you can actually paste what we copied, which is the ID equals UI ID 28. So this is telling it to find an LI object, which is right here, LI object, with this ID, and basically to click on it. So that's what we're doing right here. So I'm going to add the dot click at the end. And then the last thing we need to do is we need to basically tell it, all right, once this is all done, click on the button to finish this off. So going back over, we can just click on Austin, Texas. We're going to go over to this continue button. We're going to inspect it. We can look at what are the attributes of this continue button, and the unique identifier is going to be name, right? That's a pretty easy one, which is just go. So what we want to do is we're going to go back over to our PyCharm. We're going to do browser dot find element by os.path again. This time we're going to be focusing on a button because this is a button. So / button. The square brackets, then we want to do an @ name equals, and we're going to do go. So as simple as that, we want to just do click. And with that, the way I program with Selenium is I'll do small sections of code and I will test it out, and then I'll add more and I'll test it out, and we just continue that process. So this is a very small section. I had to do a lot of explaining, but the future ones will be a lot faster as we develop this out. But let's just click run on what we have now. It's going to open up a new one for us. It picked Austin, Texas, it clicked go, and it sent us to the next page. So on each page, we're going to have a little bit of section to kind of say, all right, what are we going to do now, right? So for this one, we want to post underneath the housing offered. So in order to post here, we can actually right-click and inspect element. I'm going to right-click and inspect element again. We can see housing offers right here. We can see that the span is actually what we're looking for, left side. We can see that there's a little radio button. So for here, we're trying to click on this little radio button. We can see that it has a value of HO and a name of ID and a type of radio. So in order to actually get this to work, what I am going to do is I'm going to reference this name ID and then this value HO, and we're going to combine it into a browser and just click it. So what we are going to do is we will do a browser dot find element by XPath. And the good thing about find element by XPath is you can reference more than one classification to help better specify which element you actually want. So this is the first time that we will actually be doing that. So we will do the same input because that's the element was, square brackets. We will do an @ symbol with the name, and this name is going to be equal to ID. So we will do ID. And we want an @ symbol of value, and that is going to be equal to HO. So now that we have that done, we want to basically click it, and that's going to take us to the next page. So that section is done. We have finished the post type page. So I'm going to rerun this again. That was a pretty fast one to get through that page, and we'll work our way to the next one. So this is loading up, clicked Austin, and looking back at the code, I made a stupid mistake. I added an extra quotation mark, so I'm going to rerun that, and this time it should work. So let's see what we have here. Make this larger. Goes to Austin. All right, cool. We got it to the next one. Now we got to tell which type of category we want to put this under. So I'm going to do real estate by owner. That's what we're going to need to press. So I will do inspect. I will go back into our code. I'm going to basically call this category, and we will do a browser dot find element by XPath. So going back to our WebDriver, we're going to go back to our for sale by owner, inspect one more time, and we can see that we want this input with this radio. So ID and then value of 143. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go back into PyCharm. I'm going to do and then we'll do input, and then we will do square bracket, @ symbol, name is going to be equal to ID again. ID, and then we want to do @ symbol, value is going to be equal, and I think it was 143, and we will close that off, and we want to do a dot click, and that should get us over that page. And then if we rerun this, we should get to our most intensive page that we're going to be working on, which is basically filling out a bunch of information. So here we go. This is going to be the fun one to conquer. We have a bunch of different text boxes. We have a price, a square foot, housing type, a bunch of other different information that we're going to need to fill out. So in order to get started, let's make this bigger. So you guys can see what's going on here. I'm going to go over to inspect, which is going to be the title area. And I'm going to inspect one more time so we can see what we're working with here. So we need to put stuff into this input. So we can see that this input has a posting title right here. And then it has an ID of posting title right here. So that's what we're going to do. We'll go back into PyCharm. We will do main post page, I guess, post page, and we will start filling this out. So title underscore area I'm going to make that equal to browser dot find element by XPath, if we remember correctly. And then we'll be putting in an input / input, and then we will do square brackets at symbol. Name is going to be equal to posting title. And then we want and then we want an at symbol, and then ID is going to be equal to posting, and we will do title again. And we want to close all of this off. Looking back over it, I made some changes, so we can get rid of that because that didn't actually form properly. We could get rid of this, put that quotation right there, capitalize this P. Everything else looks just fine. I wish I was a better typer. But other than that, that should work. So with this, we want to send information to this. So now we're going to be working with something new, which is going to be our send keys variable. So we're going to press enter, and then we will do title area. Then we want to basically tell it to send keys. And within here, we get to type out what we want to actually list it as. So we could type it out whatever we want. Amazing 5-bedroom lakefront home. That's what we're going to be, the posting title is going to be pretty simple. The next thing that we want to do is we want to basically declare what city this actually is. So if we go back to our web browser, we can see an element that says city. We inspect it. We want to basically get the name and the ID because those are two of the same, very unique variables. So I'm going to copy that. And I'm going to just basically do the same thing, which is going to be city is going to equal browser.findElement by XPath / input. And then within here, we'll do square bracket at symbol. Name is going to be equal to that. I'll just get rid of that right here. And then what I want to do is do an and at symbol. ID is going to be equal to this. And I paste that again, just delete that. And then we want to basically go down to city dot send keys, and then we're going to be just telling it it's going to be Austin, Texas is the location that this is located in. Cool. So now we got to work on our postal code. If we go back, we can see there's a postal code section. So we'll go over here. Inspect, this is another input. The name is postal code, all lowercase. The ID is postal code. So keeping that in mind, I will call this postal code. That will be equal to a browser.findElement by XPath. Within here, we will do / input. We will do square bracket and at symbol. Name was equal to lowercase postcode, or postal, I think. Yeah, postal. Then we will do an and symbol, and that and symbol is going to be referencing our at ID equals postal underscore code. So that should take care of that. Looking over this again, I am going to remove that, and everything else looks just fine. So we can do a postal code. We want to send keys. This time we want to send the postal code, so I'm just going to make one up. So there we go. You can put in whatever digits you want. That's what I'm going to send in. And I'm just going to give it a time, and we will do sleep and just 1 second just for everything to catch up. Okay, so working our way, continuing down, we have the main text section. So I will just reference this real quick. So main text section. So this is relatively easy to do. Our listing page, we will inspect this element to see what this is. This is a text area. So we can also reference the name of posting body and the idea of posting body. So with that in mind, we can just do what we've been doing for all the other ones. Main underscore text equals browser dot find element by XPath. Within here, we will do / text area, and we will do square brackets. At symbol is going to be name equals to post in body, and then we have an and the ID was equal to posting body. Cool. So that is done. Now we need to send information to this. So we can reference our main text. So main text, and then we can send keys. And let's just say that we have a YouTube video that we want to show at the front of it. So I will basically be pasting in a link to that. So check out this YouTube video that shows off the property. All right, so that's all it says. Then we want to basically send inner keys because we don't want everything to be jumbled up on each other, and you'll see what I mean by this. So we'll do main text, and we want to do dot send keys, and we want to do capital keys dot enter. So that's giving us a space because we're pressing enter after we submit that. So let's do that 2 times. That way we are creating a lot of space for this. Then we want to do main text again. We can send keys, and this is where we're going to give more information on the listing itself. Where basically we can say that this is a wonderful family location located 2 blocks from the high school, blah, 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 and we will create something nice. So you can fill this out with whatever you want. If you're just playing along, you can type in whatever you want for that. But I just pasted something that just basically talks about how wonderful this house is. Then, I wanted to add just, quick, information. So I'm just going to do main, just paste that 2 more times. Then we'll do main text dot send keys. And I'm just going to give the price and the square footage, and I will stop at that because I don't want to take this on too long. So $450,000, even though that house is definitely worth more than that. But there you go. And we can do one more. We will do, it's 1,000 feet of highway. Let's say that. So main text dot send keys, and then we can do 1,000 feet on highway, even though it isn't. So with that, I think that is pretty good. We could give an inquiry number just to kind of tell it, hey, if you think that you want this property, call us. So all I did is I just sent in this, which is what we've already done. Main text, send keys, enter. Main text, send keys, please inquire at this number. Cool. So with that, we can move on to our next section, which is going to be pricing. Price, we will go back to our Selenium page. We can see that the price is right here. We inspect the element. As you can see, this gets really repetitive as you start to get the vibe of what you're actually doing here. Basically for this, we're going to be looking for a name of price because that is the unique one. And you just know it's a unique one because there's nothing else in there with that. Sometimes you just have to just try it and just continue to try it and you'll get it right. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this price equals browser dot find element by XPath. Within here, we're going to do / input square bracket at symbol name equals, and then we will put in price. So that looks good. Then we can go down to square feet and then we just need to send it. So we'll do price dot send keys. How much is this going to sell for? We have it listed up there for 450. So I'll do that. So 450. And then we want to basically find the square feet, which is going to be relatively simple. Like I said, I'm not going to go through all these because I think at this point you can kind of get the hang of most of this, but I'm going to just show the ones that I had a little bit of trouble with. So for this one, we are looking for the name of square feet, as you can see right there. I'm going back into PyCharm, I'm pasting that in, and you can see that we found an input square feet, and we just put that in. So other than that, we want to basically go down to the drop-down button. This one is a little bit unique. This is the solution I found for it. So if we go back over here, we need to basically click on this. So in order to do that, we need to find the housing type. So we will inspect. I will create a variable real quick called house underscore type. This is going to be equal to browser dot find element by XPath. and basically we need to find the span. So if we go back over here, and the span is right up here. As you can see, we are referencing the span of this element. What we really want to be looking for is this ID right here. So I'm going to be copying that. I'm going to go back into here. We'll do / span, square brackets, at, and then we will paste the ID, and we will end off that square bracket. So with that done, we want to click on it. So .click. And in order to showcase something new, I'm going to show you guys how to basically click on one of these with down arrows instead. So in order to do that, what I am going to do is I am going to use actions. So going back into PyCharm, I need to bring in actions real quick, and that is relatively simple to do. We will call this action. So actions is going to equal action chains, which will be brought up already, and we're going to be referencing browser with it. So browser. So with this set up, now we can actually use these actions to send in up and down arrow keys to this selector so that we can pick which one that we want. So this is a different approach to go about it. So in order to do this, I will do a for loop. So for x in range of 4. The reason why I'm calling on this is because if for the one I want, going back into here, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So that's the house that I want. So you have to also remember with Python, 0 is always counted as a number. So that's actually 4 is actually 5 or whatever you want to, but 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you would actually count that. So going back in here, whenever I'm creating this range, I'm saying for x in range of 4, I want it to send a down arrow. So I will do actions dot send keys, and I want to do capital keys dot arrow down. Cool. Then I want to reference action. Then we want to do send keys, and then we want to basically press keys dot enter. So that will click it, and I'll just do a dot click. And then I want to perform these actions. So actions dot perform. So with that done, that should take care of that. Last things we have to do is fill out the laundry, the bedroom, the bathroom, the email, and we should be done. So we're almost there. So working our way back to our laundry, another way to kind of go about this is we'll do an inspect. I just want to show you guys a different way. That's why we did the arrow keys for that one. But this is the other way to go about it, which we've already kind of done. What we are going to be looking for is the span with our ID. So it's going to be this one right here. We're going to find this ID of 2 and button. And basically what we want to do is I'm going to paste that right here. I'm going to go up to here. To housing type, I'm going to copy it, paste it down, and basically I'm going to call this one laundry. I'm going to copy this ID, delete that, and I'm going to just paste that ID right there, and we are good on that. Then we want to do browser.findElement by XPath, and what we are trying to find is we're trying to find the element that is associated to this drop down of this laundry. So we're going to go back into Chrome. So there is this laundry on site. So I'll right click, inspect. We want to go to this ID, and then we want to paste that in. So I'm going back over here. We want to do /li, because that's what that was, square bracket, at symbol, paste that in, dot click, and then we can go down to our bathroom. So bathrooms, equals browser.findElement by XPath, and within here we need to find our bathrooms. So working our way back in here, we can see our bathrooms is right here. So let's inspect, go back up to the span right here that houses all the information, copy this ID. I can also see I missed bedrooms, so I'll do that, but let's do // li. Then we want to do square bracket, paste that in. We'll do a dot click, and then we want to do browser.findElement by XPath, and then we want to find the li that's associated to the bedroom. So it's actually, just to kind of save you guys time, // li, square bracket, at ID equals UI dash ID dash 40. And then we just want to click that. And like I said, I want to do the bedrooms. I just want to save us some time because I think you guys get the point of how to kind of run through this process because these are all kind of the same. So I'm going to drop in the bedrooms, the email, which is just find element by email, which will go right here. We're just sending in the email. All right. And then we want to find this, which is just press go. So I know I kind of went through this last section, but I figured, you know what, if you guys have been following along with this top part, you should be able to fill out this rest by yourself. You probably don't even need me to do it for you because it's pretty repetitive and the process is just the complete same. Look it up, find the ID, put the ID, and then put in the keys that you need or whatever information, or click it, or whatever you're trying to do with that element. So with that, we have this section done. Let's see if there's any code that is wrong. With coding, there usually is small mistakes. So let's see if it breaks or if it runs through like we need it to. So it went to Austin, Texas, went through real estate. It just filled out the post title. It filled out the description. It's gone through everything and it has broken. So in order to see what's going on, we'll go back to PyCharm. We will look at this section right here, which is LIID4. So I'm going to copy that, put that in, and we will see where this is. So looking this over, this is actually supposed to be a span, so that's why that didn't work. But if we rerun it, hopefully that fixes everything, or there might be another error. Let's see what we have going on here. Run through everything again, go through Austin, create the listing, fill all that out, go to description, fill out price, everything else, and we got to this page. Awesome. So we got the hard part knocked out. That is the hardest part of this whole application. Then we have this section. All right, everybody. So to reinforce what you guys have been learning, I want you to do this page by yourself, okay? We have a street. I will include in the video right now, put in that street information. I have the city, put in Austin as the city, and then I want you to click find and click that button to find it. Then I want you to sleep for 1 second and then click continue, okay? So that should be really simple for you guys to do if you've been following along. The only way that you guys are actually going to be learning is if I throw you out there and you do it yourself. It also saves me time because it's a long video. But with that, pause the video right now. Do this yourself. Fill out street, fill out city, press find, and then sleep for 1 second, and then press continue, all right? So let's go. All right, everybody, I hope you did really well with that. As you can see, this is what I have up right here. This is how I did it. Hopefully you guys did well and you finished it and you got it done. So congratulations. So let's go into the next section, which is send pictures, right? So that's what we're going to do in this one. This is actually the more complicated one, and I'll show you how I went about uploading pictures into Craigslist. So once I got up to this page, I noticed that this adding it through the newer one really doesn't work that well. The best way to add pictures is to click on this button or this link right here. So what we want to do is we're going to basically tell Selenium to click on that, which is pretty easy. We've done that before. So inspect, we can see that it has an ID of classic. So that's what we're going to be using here. So going back to sending pictures, we will tell it to find an element. So browser dot find element by XPath, and then we will reference the //a, and then within here we will do the @ ID is going to be equal to our classic variable. So classic. And then we want to close off our square brackets, if I can talk, and then we want to just click that. All right, so that's going to put us to where we need to go. Then we need to find an element that is going to be where these files are going to be uploaded, right? So we're going to go back into our Google Chrome Selenium. We're going to click on Classic. We need to go over here. We're going to inspect this. And what we want to do is reference this input variable right here with the type of file and the name of file. So I'm going to go back into PyCharm. We will do add underscore images is going to equal browser.find element by XPath. And within here, we'll do / input is going to equal our square brackets @ name equals file. Cool. So good enough. Then we want to create a loop. So for this loop, we will create a blank list above. So img is going to be our blank images loop. Then we want to reference our path. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to tell our program, go into this folder, go through each image within this folder, and then bring it into the project. And reference it within this list. So, like I said, we are going to do this through a for loop. First thing we need to do is we need to bring in the path so our program knows to where to look. So we'll do path. We are going to find the direct path of this. So we will create a string. We're going to go over here. We're going to do copy path. To find the direct path, we're going to paste that in. We're going to add an ending backslash on that. That way we can tell it, hey, go there. Then we want to go to valid, and then we will do valid underscore images. We will do a list here, and we're going to tell the program, that way it doesn't break all that much. It needs to actually be an image. So it needs to be a .jpg or a .gif. Or the image needs to be a .png or a .tga. So these are all different image types. So if it meets that requirement of being one of these different files, it will continue. If it doesn't, it will stop, or it will just not use that one. So we will create this for loop. So we'll do for f in os.listdir. We will do the path. And within here, we want to see if it exists. So ext equals os.path. We are going to split the text. So split text. Then we're going to be referencing our f above. And we want to get the first element. So 1. So then we want to run an if statement. So if x.lower is not a valid image. So we're checking to see if it's not in valid images. Then we want to continue. Else, we want to actually print the image itself, so printf. And then we want to do images dot append, and then we want to append, and then we want to do a f string. So f, and we'll do the string backslash random house slash. We want to do f. So that's just the path of the actual image. So looking this over real quick, I know that was a lot of code that you probably aren't used to, so I will kind of explain this real quick. We're creating a for loop. As you can see right here, each image is the directory of this image, and then it's basically taking that. So it's taking h1.png, and then it's splitting it into text. Then it's turning the text to lowercase, just to keep it all lowercase, and then it's saying is this or this in this h1.png. If it is, then you will continue down here. If it is not in a valid image, then just continue on without it. That's basically what you're telling it to do. So with that, it basically appends the path, which is random house, which is this folder right here, with the actual f, which is the directory or like path URL of the actual image. And then it appends it to this images right here. So then we want to basically create a way to kind of sort the images, because this is all labeled nicely. I just want to make sure that everything's sorted appropriately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a for loop for I in sorted, and we'll do images. Then we want to do an if add images up here is not equal to false. Then we want to print os.getCwd, which is just get the current directory, plus I. So that is just getting the current directory that we're focusing on, plus I, which is the image itself. So this way we can actually see if everything is showing up right. And we can check our console log to make sure, all right, why is it not pathing right? So this is just a safety procedure. And then we will do add underscore images dot send keys. And then we will basically paste this. So os dot get cwd, which is get that path, plus I. So if everything looks right, that should work. And then we want to add images equals WebDriver wait. And then we want to reference our browser, and we want to give it 3 seconds, and then we want to make sure that it isn't continuing on until. And what we're going to be putting in this until is we're going to be putting in a find, I guess function that is basically telling it to upload the image. And once that is done, then it can continue on. So in order to do this, I'm going to scroll up to the top of what we were kind of working on. I'm going to paste this in. Basically what we're doing here is we're creating this function with find. We're referencing the browser because that's what's actually taken in. Add images is going to equal browser.findElement by XPath. And if add images, return add images, else return false. So it's a really simple function right here that we're actually creating. So we're going to just put this until find, and that just makes sure that that whole function is actually finished before we are able to continue on. So with that, let's go back down and we will do an else statement. So else, we just want to continue without it. So if it isn't there, just continue without it, and then that's it. Then we want to basically find element by XPath, the button done with images, and then continue. So what we're going to do is we will go back into our Chrome. We will click on inspect for done with images right here. We can see that this has a value of done with images. So I'm going to copy that value. I'm going to go back into PyCharm. I'll do browser.findElement by XPath. We will do / button with square brackets at symbol. I will paste in that value right there, and we will do .click. And we are basically done with this project. So let's run this, make sure everything works, see if there's any bugs. So it's filling everything out. This just looks so awesome watching, it fill out everything in like super fast time. And as you can see, it's going through the loop. It's uploading the first image. It's uploading the second image, the third image, and it's just continuing on. That's awesome. So these take a little bit of time to upload just because these are big images and stuff, but I will come back once this is all uploaded. As you can see, I just finished uploading everything. The listing is done. We can actually overlook the listing, and all we're missing is just click that publish button. So this is what we were actually able to create with our automated task. It takes a lot of work at first just to get it all set up, I suppose. But in the end, if you're having to post this on every single city, and let's say that there are over 100 or like 1,000 cities, there's over 1,000 cities on Craigslist, and you want to get this post on every single city, this is totally worth the time. So with that, this has been an awesome learning experience on how to use Selenium. Like I said, it's not a hard thing to use once you actually get the hang of it. So if you guys have any questions, post in the YouTube description down below. Like, subscribe. I would really appreciate all the support. I really want to get back into programming videos and educational videos and kind of show you guys more cool stuff. But I thought that this was a very useful, application, a useful tool that, most advertisers or people just trying to automate different tasks could use. Sure, this is for Craigslist, but you can kind of see how you can use the same approach to doing anything with Selenium, because the options really are endless, and I'd like to dive into it more and make more videos if it interests you guys. But like I said, with that, I will actually talk a little bit longer because I do want to kind of give you guys a starting point for more in-depth options, because whenever you're taking on working with a site, for example, Craigslist, I highly suggest reading the rules of Craigslist, right? The rules is you can only post from an account every 42 hours, 48 hours. So you have to keep that in mind, right? So how do you automate that, right? There are different ways to kind of go about it. There are ways where you can go out and you can buy, 100, 1,000 emails. You could cycle through those. That is one approach. That's actually what I ended up doing, and it worked out really well. Another thing that you also need to take into account is these websites, they're getting more educated on how to basically spot people that are coming from the same IP address. So you need to figure out a way to circumvent that, right? An idea, and I'll show you what I ended up doing. I ended up going to this website, freeproxylist.net. So this hides your IP address within a proxy. And basically they have an API. I think it's like $5 or something, or $4. And basically you can pull on their API and you can get all of the lists that you want. And it's really simple and easy to use. And that way you can get a whole list of different proxies that you use. You throw it into the start of your program, and you basically get your Selenium to basically register, hey, I'm coming from this proxy instead of your current IP address. And then you cycle through the next one on the next account, and so on and so on. Like I said, these are more advanced techniques that I'm not going to dive into this video because it would take forever. And we're already at like the 1 hour mark. But I just want to give you guys a cool starting point to kind of build off of if you find this stuff interesting, and if you're trying to automate tasks that IP addresses might get in the way, or if you need to basically upload a bunch of different emails, you know, that type of stuff. So those are some really good starting points and suggestions that I would suggest. Buy a whole list of email addresses. It was like $30, you can get 100, or $25, you can get 100. And then for the proxy list, like I said, you can do something like this. So there are workarounds for anything in life. You just gotta be creative on how you go about it. But anyway, like I said, if any of this was valuable, subscribe, like, give me a thumbs up. That helps the algorithm. I am a small YouTuber, so I don't make that many videos because it's getting harder and harder to make videos. So if you really want me to make more programming videos, give me some support. Anyway, thank you guys for your time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day programming, hacking, or whatever the heck you do on the computer.